Hello, my name is Vivian Kuo, and I will give a short presentation on why we should seek beauty and how to find it. I will give a different perspective on how to identify beauty, and my hope is that after this presentation, you would be compelled to go out and discover beauty on your own. There are many questions to consider when discussing beauty. Are there objective standards of beauty, or is beauty in the eye of the beholder? What can we learn from ourselves when we find beauty? The topic of beauty and aesthetics has been studied and discussed for ages by the likes of Plato and Hume, Shakespeare and Da Vinci, and so on. But today I will use the word beauty in general terms of aesthetics, as applied to any artistic work. I will present a framework of beauty that is based on the idea that seeking beauty is important because it is essential to our human intelligence and emotional capacity. If we consider New York Times fashion photographer Bill Cunningham's quote, "He who seeks beauty will find it," we might also wonder why someone would even seek out beauty. Does beauty really matter? Does it matter enough that we should make the effort to pursue and find it? What treasure does it store for us? I think it is easy to explain why it is good to encounter beauty, if we happen to come across it. I believe we have all experienced something beautiful in our lives, from a stunning photograph, to a smile of a loved one, or a breathtaking landscape. But does this beauty really matter, to make it a focused pursuit out of? Beauty begs us to notice it, but often we do not hear it speaking. The common English saying, "Remember to stop and smell the roses," is evidence of this. When we do not, we lose touch with beauty's voice. We lose something fundamental to human capacity, the ability to perceive and reflect, to have hope and empathy. Beauty causes us to pause a moment and look a bit longer, to notice its details, to gaze for no other purpose than to appreciate it. As we pause to encounter beauty, we train ourselves to be better observers of the world around us. And as we observe, we give birth to more nuanced thinking. In other words, to train ourselves to be better observers of beauty, we train ourselves to be more critical thinkers. As we pause and perceive beauty in the moment, we create the opportunity to further the thought, to reflect and apply meaning. Beauty compels us further to ask, what does it mean? Beauty asks us to find a narrative, a meaning to its creation. Yet this ability to find meaning is not a natural skill to most of us. We need to be further exposed to beauty and train our mind to reflect and develop a narrative around it. By doing this, we capture the essence of being human in one of its best forms. We learn to draw inferences on behalf of beauty, further enhancing our capacity as an intelligent species. By observing details and applying meaning, we also connect with a timeless and universal humanity, regardless of which form beauty attracts us with. When we are trained to perceive beauty and apply meaning to it, we also spark the imagination for future possibilities. When beauty asks us to reflect on it, it naturally projects reflections of itself into a world of other possibilities. Beauty has the ability to immediately ignite our imagination. That is, of course, if we let it. On the flip side, without such imaginative hope, we wither and die, literally. To put it more bluntly, without hope, we will have nothing to stop us from giving up on life. To be able to survey life in a way that is atypical to your natural instinct can be a life-saving skill, for your own sake and the sake of others. This skill is known as empathy. We practice this skill when we encounter beauty deeply. But what does empathy matter? I think empathy matters, especially when we consider the future of the world for the sake of others. The Center for Creative Leadership describes empathy as a fundamental part of emotional intelligence, and which researchers believe to be critical to effective leadership. Both beauty and empathy require stepping into another's experience, imagining an alternate world, being attentive to emotion, and being able to articulate it. Beauty has the ability to cause us to be less self-centered. Through perception and reflection, we are able to enter someone else's world. With beauty and empathy, we can become more tolerant of differences and be better neighbors and world citizens. Therefore, beauty is not merely what the media tells us is beautiful. To discover and gain from beauty is an exercise of perception, reflection, hope, and empathy. And now I will give you a glimpse of how an ordinary person finds beauty. In this self-portrait, gravity is pulling at my features, to make my nose look bigger and my eyes uneven. Also, my brow is furrowed, and I'm not smiling. As I look at the imperfect, non-happy me, I remember that there are many perspectives of self. This is beauty. Here are photos from a creative project I worked on together with a friend. Our piece is an interpretation of the biblical story of the origin of fashion. After creating this, I now know the experience that comes from creating something from scratch with my own hands. I can relate to others who do the same, and this is beauty. I stumbled upon this bicycle in Shanghai. I posted a photo of it to Instagram. Days later, a stranger tagged it with the name Oleg. Oleg, as I discovered, is the name of the artist that created this work. To Oleg, crochet is a metaphor for interconnectedness. Indeed, by sharing our encounters with art, we become interconnected. This is beauty. This image is of the Great Wave by Hokusai. It is the image on my computer desktop. It is also stored in my gallery called Perseverance at googleartproject.com. Looking at this painting reminds me to look up when times are difficult in order to catch the next wave of opportunity. And this is beauty. Thank you for listening. Beauty awaits. Go discover.